Hey honeys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another video all about the Disney College program. Today and specifically we're going to be talking about some ways that I prepped for my Disney College program phone interview. So without further ado, let's just get into it. If you are familiar with any of my previous Disney College program related videos, then you may have seen my DCP phone interview tips and tricks video. This is not necessarily going to be a tips and tricks style video. This is just going to be some of the ways that I kind of calmed my nerves and prepped myself for the actual phone interview. These are just some little ways that got me ready and that made me feel like I was going to nail my interview. So one of the things that I did mention as one of my tips and tricks was to prep. I definitely think that preparing is such a beneficial thing to do for when you are getting ready to take a phone interview. I don't think that you should just go into the phone interview and wing it and just hope that you can answer the questions well. I really think that it's important for you to kind of think about maybe some of the questions that they may ask, think about your top roles, think about your past job experiences, think about things that describe you and who you are as a person and why you would succeed as a cast member. I think kind of putting all of those things into perspective and just thinking about that and getting just kind of general little stories or just explanations or anything like that ready is a really good idea because it just kind of gets you prepared for the phone interview. So hopefully you're not really caught off guard with any of the questions. Now, with that being said, I do recommend not necessarily rehearsing or memorizing your answers. I don't think that that is a very good idea. It doesn't make you sound very genuine or natural. It just makes you sound rehearsed and robotic. So with prepping, I definitely recommend just not memorizing your answers, just kind of giving yourself a general idea of things you can talk about and bring up so that you are ready to go to succeed in your phone interview. So with planning and prepping for the phone interview, I made myself some little cheat sheets that I had sitting in front of me for my phone interview. Now, this is what I have done in the past. I have taken the Disney College program phone interview 4 times and I have gotten accepted 3 out of those 4 times that I have taken the phone interview. The first time, I did not prep. I mean, I prepped, but I don't think I prepped necessarily for the right things. So I'm gonna kind of go through different things that I was kind of writing down on my papers here, and this is truly what I believe was the biggest support in helping me get accepted into the program after my phone interview. So we're just gonna go through the papers. I have 4 papers here that I had sitting in front of me during my phone interview. These are the ones from my most recent phone interview, and I just think that these were truly super helpful. So I'm gonna put a picture up on the screen somewhere so that way you guys can see it better and kind of see like a close-up of it. But pretty much on this first page, I just have the Disney phone interview, and then I put all of the roles that I was interested in. So the ones that I put interest in on my application were quick service food and beverage, attractions, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, character attendant, children's activities, merchandise, and recreation activities, although I believe that that's actually called recreation attractions. Then I put a little key on the side here which says hi, and that's all of the pink highlighter, and then moderate, which is the orange highlighter. So I highlighted those just so I was aware of which ones I had more interest in on my application. Sometimes I do also have my actual application pulled up on my computer. I didn't do that this most recent time, but I do think that that's a good idea as well. But I kind of put everything I would need right on these papers, so I didn't have to do that this time. But I have all of that there. There was actually something that went wrong with my application this past time. I don't know what happened. I put interest in way more things in this, and for whatever reason when I submitted it, they weren't there anymore, but whatever, that's totally fine. These are the things that I put interest in on the application that my recruiter or interviewer was seeing. Then on the top corner, you can see here I have interviewer's name, and then I did cross that out, but at the bottom there, you can see that I wrote my interviewer's name. Underneath of my roles that I put interest in, I put my top 3 roles out of that. So my top 3 roles are character attendant, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and attractions in that order. Underneath that, I put the top things and experiences that relate to these roles. So for quick service food and beverage, I served food at my most recent job. My dad owned a restaurant, and I also have experience working a POS system, and I handle cash, of course, with that. So with attractions, I do have experience delivering spiels at my most recent job, and I do also have a ton of experience doing theater, so that was super helpful as well. And then I also have a lot of experience ensuring safety standards at my job because I do work at a kid's birthday party place, so that is something that of course goes hand in hand with attractions. Under that, I have Bippity Boppity Boutique, so I'm actually going to be hopefully attending makeup school pretty soon. And then under that, I've also been doing my own hair and makeup for pageants and theater practically my whole life, and I've also done it for a ton of other girls as well, so I definitely have a lot of experience there. Under that, we have the character attendant role. So I have that I work with characters at my most recent job, at my kid's birthday party place job. We do have characters that come to the parties, so I just put that I have experience working with them. Under that, I put some examples such as getting them dressed, walking them from room to room, all of that kind of stuff. Under that, of course, also maintaining character integrity, which is a big thing at my current job. The next page just kind of continues on with that. So we have children's activities, which I do have experience working with kids closely. I've babysat for several years. I was a summer camp counselor, all of that kind of stuff. I am also CPR certified. For merchandise, I do have experience working a POS system, and I do sell the birthday parties at my current job now that I work behind the desk. For recreation activities or attractions, I really still don't know which one that is called. I do have to book parties at my most recent job, and I do also assist in giving information, which is all part of the role of the recreation. So for job experiences on my application, I wrote my 2 jobs there. It's the same company, but first, I started as a parties host, and then I started working as a front desk assistant. And then I also have a volunteer experience that I put on my app as well. I'm just blurring these things out just for privacy purposes, but I do have volunteer experience working with young ladies with special needs, so I have that on there as well. Then I wrote things to definitely bring up or things to remember for certain questions or roles. So I always make the joke that my mom is my roommate because it's just her and I in our house. So I always kind of make that joke. It just makes the recruiter laugh a little bit, which is fun. It just kind of lightens the mood a little bit. Under that, you see Beauty and the Beast / LeFou. That is a story that from when I was a junior in high school, we did Beauty and the Beast, and the LeFou that we had fell a little bit too hard during one of the scenes, so my director asked me to step in. Of course, I said yes. I didn't really necessarily know the lines, but I was just reacting to whatever was going on stage, and I always thought that that was a really cool thing to bring up because it just shows that I can think quickly on my feet, I can improv, I work well under pressure, all of the stuff that kind of goes along with working in Walt Disney World. Also, I wrote to call kids pirate or princess. These are just little things that I like to mention of ways that I can make little kids' days feel extra special without making like actual magical moments, and also just ways for me to keep myself entertained within the parks, just interacting with each guest and calling kids pirate or princess. Under that, I have character attendant. So these were just things that I knew for sure I wanted to keep in mind in case questions about these roles came up. So for that, I said Mickey is taking Pluto for a walk, Tinkerbell uses her pixie dust, give time for when character will be back, encourage them to meet other characters or ride an attraction. So for the first 2, that was really just if a question came up such as why is Mickey's line closing and why is there a character here and there. Of course, Tinkerbell's using her pixie dust, but not everyone knows that, so I wanted to make sure that my interviewer that I would be talking to knows that I knew of Tinkerbell using her pixie dust to do that, because that is so awesome. And then under that, of course, that was more of a question such as if a family was upset that they wouldn't be able to meet a character, how would I deal with that? So then under that, we have attractions, and this is more of a question if they asked me what would I do if I had to turn away a child that was not tall enough to ride a ride. So it was my answer of just encouraging the child not tall enough to ride a different attraction or give him or her a sticker or other fun item. Just making the family still feel special and know that we want to be able to give them the most fun trip that we can. So on this next page, we just have some questions that I wanted to prep for. Now, I didn't necessarily read my answers right off of this paper. I don't think that that is a good idea. As I mentioned, I don't think you should really rehearse or memorize your answers, but I do think that it is a good idea to get some answers prepped just so you have a general idea of things you can talk about. So the first question, why do I want to do this program? I wrote professionally, I want to move up in the company, stay with company long term, professional internship after the Disney College program, and then work full time after my professional internship. Personally, Personally, it's my dream. Cast members have always made my trips magical. It's time for me to create magic. You leave your problems at the gate. These are all just little things that I wanted to talk about, and of course I did expand on these and bring up more points, but these were just general things I wanted to have in mind in case this question came up, which it did. 3 out of the 4 times this question came up. I have what am I most looking forward to? So I have meeting people from all over the world, building connections and networking, creating lifelong memories, and building my resume. I did not get asked this question my most recent time. Actually, I did not get asked any of these questions my most recent time, except why do I want to do the program? But in the past, I have gotten asked most of these questions. That's why I always prep for these types of questions, because you never know which ones they're going to ask and which ones they aren't. But I always think that for me, at least, it's a good idea to have a couple points written down just so I have something to go off of. So next, what does Disney mean to me? It means happiness and joy. My dad told me on my first trip, this is the happiest place on earth, and he was right. Family, love, and home. Disney brings people together, and cast members create a unified experience for all guests. You feel right where you belong. Why would I be good at this program? As a communications major with a background in pageantry and volunteer work, I have learned how to build meaningful relationships. My goal would always to be having the guest leave with a smile on his or her face. It's a good stepping stone to move up within the company. And how have I handled a difficult guest situation? So this one time a grandmom came during one of our public jump sessions. There was nothing going on. Like yada yada yada. She wasn't technically supposed to be able to jump. We still let her. Leaves with a smile on her face, etc. If the pizza's ever late for a party, we give them like a free bounce pass or something, or just try to work with them in some way to make them still happy. And if a parent won't sign one of the safety waivers, we explain that it is for safety purposes, and that is something that we have to do. So I don't think that it's a good idea to necessarily take my answers. You can pull from things. If any of those are relative to something that you think or feel, then by all means, I hope that that was helpful. But I don't think that it's a good idea to necessarily take someone else's answers, because your answers should be genuine and they should be about you and what you actually feel. So then on this last page, I have the best 3 qualities about me. So the top ways that I would describe myself, I have that I'm goal-oriented, personable, and flexible. And then under that, I gave little explanations of why I felt those different ways. So for goal-oriented, I put that I work towards what I'm trying to achieve and don't let tough times stop me. I always put forward 110%. For personable, I wrote that I try to always build meaningful, lasting relationships. If a guest is upset, I will try to understand why so that I can best help them. And for flexible, I put that I am open-minded and willing to deal with change, and I can work in different settings such as indoor or outdoor, and alone or in a team environment. Then under that, I did write some of the questions that I gave for my recruiter, which was how to get involved with volunteers and how to request feedback so that I can progress, and how did he or she get started. So I always think that it's a good idea to have at least 2 questions prepared. It just shows that you're interested in the program, and the interviewer just spent all this time asking questions about you, so it's always nice to give them a question or 2 to ask them. And then under that, I wrote notes for during the interview. I actually didn't have any notes that I wrote down. A lot of times in the past, I wrote down notes during my interview, and usually I don't have it on separate pages like this. Usually I have like a notebook in front of me. I did it on the separate pages with nothing on the back, just because I thought it would be a little bit easier to have them all laid out in front of me so I could just quickly look through instead of like having to flip pages and all of that. Or as I mentioned, have my application pulled up on my laptop, so I had to like, you know, scroll through that. It was really easy for me this way, and I think that this way worked the best for me personally. But for whatever reason, this time I did not have any notes that I was pulling from this time for my interview, such as like things writing down during the actual interview itself. I was just having a really genuine conversation this past time. And like I said, all of these things that I'm kind of talking about here are just kind of based on my most previous phone interview. So I really didn't have to write down any notes. We were just having a really nice conversation, and there was nothing that I felt like I had to write down. So that was all of my prep sheets, and honestly, I have to say that they were super helpful. So I think that that is a really big tip and a great way for you to be able to also prep for your DCP phone interview. The other thing that I did that some people might think is just absolutely crazy is make this big poster board for me to look at during the phone interview. So we just have a whole bunch of pictures on here from all different times that I have been to the parks. We also just have some different little quotes and inspirational words, and then we have some Disney stickers on there as well. So we just have like, if you can dream it, you can do it. Genuine, confident, energy, excited, I'm almost there, positive, optimistic, pray, calm, I can go the distance, confident, professional, all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. One of my favorite quotes. Smile, breathe, it's kind of fun to do the impossible, relax, and faith. I think I read all of those, but yes, I have this on here. And in the middle there, one of the most recent times I was in Disney, I took a picture with a pin that says I'm celebrating working for Disney, just kind of trying to put it out there in the universe, and there you go. It was certainly with me, and yeah, it was really awesome. That's definitely something that may seem kind of unnecessary, but for me it was just really nice to have that there. It was really calming for me. A lot of people like to listen to Disney music before their interview or watch a Disney movie. For me, looking at old pictures of me being in Disney really just put myself in that mindset of me being in the parks, of me interacting with people and having just one of the best times ever, because truly for me, being in the parks is just my most favorite thing to do in the world. So yeah, just having that there and getting to see all of those different times where I was just at my happiest moments really put me in a great headspace to be able to kill my interview. So aside from that, the only other thing that I really did was just kind of meditate and pray before the interview started, made sure I was in a quiet space, just put on some relaxing music, and really just spent time with myself and just prayed on it and just meditated on the way I wanted the interview to go, kind of just trying to put it out there and just really get myself set up for the most positive experience possible, because I truly am a believer in just positive thinking, because if you think positively, I really think that you can change the way things go for your life. So I was really just trying to put that out there and just try to get myself in that space so that when the interview did happen, I was really calm and really relaxed, and it certainly did work for this most recent time. And it was just truly one of the best interviews that I think I've ever had for the DCP. I didn't feel very nervous. I mean, I felt like nervous and like anxious, but I didn't feel overwhelmed or anything like that. I felt very prepared, very excited, and just very calm and relaxed. So I think all of these things that I did combined, just having my prep sheets ready to go, taking that time in advance to prep for the interview, and just writing down all of the main points and things that I know for sure that I think would be helpful during my interview certainly helped. Making my little poster board was awesome as well. I did that the morning of the interview also. I had my phone interview at 10:30, so I did that the morning of. It was super calming for me, and it honestly also just took my mind off of the interview, because I woke up about 3 hours or so before the interview. So you know, that gives you kind of quite a bit of time to start getting in your own head and getting nervous. So taking the time to do that was really, really awesome and super helpful, because it definitely calmed me down and brought back some of the best memories of my life, just being in the parks and creating all of those great, long, life-lasting memories. And then also just kind of having this set up during the interview so that I could look at it and have it as a reference so that it would calm my nerves was super beneficial as well. Like I said, it really put me in that spot of just living the moment as if I was in the park, as if I was making all of these great memories and experiences with my favorite characters, eating at my favorite places, visiting my favorite places, taking all of these fun pictures that I love to do. So that was so, so awesome. And it really did help, because it certainly just made me feel so happy and genuinely excited about the college program. And then of course, just meditating and praying before the phone interview actually took place. I am just someone who thinks, like I said, that positive thinking and just praying can certainly really help you in a lot of ways. And I know for sure that it certainly did for me. So that is the main ways that I prepped for my phone interview. Like I said, this wasn't necessarily intended to be a tips and tricks style type video. So if you guys want to see that, I will link my DCP phone interview tips and tricks video in the description box down below. And I might as well just link the application process, or not the application process, the application itself tips and tricks video, as well as my WBI or web-based interview tips and tricks video in the description box down below also. So you guys can check all three of those out if you are going through the application process yourself for this semester or in the future. I think that those are super helpful. Some things may have changed as far as the application process goes from when I made those videos. There could have been things that changed. I'm honestly not necessarily sure. But, you know, of course, Disney always does have the right to change anything of their application process but I definitely do still think that the general tips and tricks that I talk about in those videos will definitely help you succeed in getting into the Disney College Program. So they are the ways that I prepped for my most recent Disney College Program phone interview. I certainly think that these are the things that helped me succeed and get accepted into the program, and I hope that maybe you guys learned something that may help you for your phone interview as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye!